Live from Spring Creek.
Are we live?
We are live.
We are live. We're on.
Live.
See, I don't have Mike Zucker here today. So, and when I do shows with Spring Creek,
Right.
that's always our. Did he do it? Did he hit the right button?
Yeah.
Are we live? Are we really? But see, you're in control of it. So we're actually. That was it. That's all it took. That was just a click of a button.
Just a click. You know, just.
Oh, if only Mike was here, I could get him educated on this.
Well, you know, the program's not done yet, though. You never know what can happen. So first of all, we want to welcome our guests. We've got about 15 on here. I know that's going to grow because we got some great stuff to talk about. But I see Ronald has joined us, and Train Jack 16, Rogan, and KCG Rail Gilbert. Thanks for showing up. Nick, Charles, and Southwest Railroad. And are you a train man too? I'm a train man.
I am a train man. Yeah. I've always been a train man. When I was a little train kid.
Right. Yeah, all the way down there. So I mean, ever since we were kids, we've been getting into trouble getting trains. And as you can see, we've found some trains, and that's what we're going to talk about today. These items that we've got on the table in front of us, these just came out of our photo studio. They're getting uploaded to our website now. Tony, I know you took some pictures for Model Railroad News.
I've been shooting some pictures for Model Railroad News. Yes, indeed. That this is exciting stuff to see. These 482 mountains are beautiful, and I'll share some pictures of those coming up. And that's some of these, as you say, you know, we've had a lot of production things in China over the last year. It's kind of slowed things down. So some of these are almost, forgotten about that.
Yeah.
But these are a few years back on a few things.
A couple of things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to start with Athearn HO, and then we're going to work our way to Athearn Genesis, because like you said, there's some really great models here, and we'll talk about them. And if you've got questions on them, go ahead and shoot them out there in the comments. We'll be watching for the, are you a train man too? You're going to be happy to see this. He's already asking about what's on the table. So,
got it right here.
Yeah. Now, again, if you forgot about these and you pre-order them, you know, talk to your dealer. You're probably going to get a phone call or an email real soon, because these should be here by July. They may even be here before the 4th of July. So, you know, it looks like they're going to be coming here pretty soon. And again, we're at Spring Creek. We're in Deschler, Nebraska. And
first day of summer, and it's a beautiful day in Deschler, as it always is. Yes.
I mean, so, you know, if you didn't pre-order one of these things that we're talking about, don't worry. Tony and I have rest assured through Spring Creek that they've ordered extra over pre-orders. So if you're like, man, I missed that, you can just go ahead and order
get a quick call in.
Yeah. So let's see who else is joining us. Charles, a fellow N-Scale. Charles, I don't have any new N-Scale stuff for you today, but don't worry. We are working on some N-Scale things, and I'm hoping to do a show on that real soon. Let's see who else. We got Jerry, Paul, Anthony is here, and Charles and Terry Poole. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Now, if you're catching us after on the YouTube channel, you know, biggest thing I want to know is, do you like the content that you're seeing? And if you do like the content that you're seeing, please do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and select the bell. That way you're notified every time a new video comes onto our feed. And get that information out there. Now, Another thing too, I'd be remiss without mentioning Tony Cook, editor of Model Railroad News. Very busy man, because not only are you doing Model Railroad News, what else are you doing over there?
I do Diesel Era for White River Productions, and I just finished up the first HO Collector Annual, 116 pages. It'll be out. I think it goes on White River's website, shop.whiteriverproductions.com. Next Tuesday, you can pre-order, and it's like at a $5 pre-publication price, like $30 or something. But 116 pages loaded with stuff. And as I told you the other day, I opened with the Future Collectible, my pick of this last year, the Bicentennial Centennial set from that you guys did of the Athearn Genesis SD90MACs with the UP CA11 Caboose.
Right.
In they thought about it but didn't do it. Bicentennial, and boy, I do a 2-page spread showing the box and everything, and lots of fun. So
a lot of fun. We actually had that at Rocky Mountain Train Show this past year, and for as many detractors that we had when we originally announced it, there weren't very many when they came to our booth.
And got to see it. Yeah.
When you see it in person, it's like, wow, why didn't they do this?
Oh, it's very cool.
You know, so it's one of those things. Remember, just because it's legendary liveries, we try to make it plausible. What if that railroad had done that? In some cases, remember the SD90MACs that we did?
Yeah.
In the Chicago Northwestern?
That they were going to order them. Yeah.
True, they never had them, but they They almost
came
did.
close. Yeah.
So yeah,
And that's all. It's fun to get to see it then, because you'll read that or see they're like, oh, they were going to buy this or that, and then to get to see it, the same as that UP bicentennial. I think
right.
Janik or one of your guys had told me that
Mhm.
those were plans they got from someone related to UP
Yep.
that said that this is what they were looking at, and it just didn't happen at the time. But it's so it wasn't just conjured up that
No,
that was the idea,
it's
and that's kind of
exactly
cool.
right. John, who's our lead developer, John Stackpole, had found the drawings
Oh, okay,
when
that's
he
who.
took
Yeah.
over the lead developer role.
Wow.
And we have a really great relationship with Union Pacific Railroad. So he thought, man, that's kind of cool. So he called somebody. He talked to their marketing person over there at UP, and they gave us the blessing. And then they also
Oh,
gave us the
yeah.
backstory
Oh, on the
on that.
yeah.
So
Huh.
John filled me in, and yeah, I'm so
That's
glad he
neat.
did that
Yeah.
because I like bicentennial locomotives. I mean,
Everybody does. Those are always popular. And you guys do so many, but something like that gigantic centennial, and
oh,
then in bicentennial paint, yeah,
yeah,
it's very cool. And the box too. You guys even, and I show it there in HO Collector, that awesome box with
right,
all the yeah. So
yeah,
all
definitely.
the way around, dude, cool
It's
release.
a cool thing, and but we're going to be talking about stuff that is going to be available here in probably the next 2 weeks, and we wanted to make you guys aware of it while we're at Spring Creek. The first thing that we're going to talk about is this 60-foot Gunderson boxcar. I'm going to put it there so you guys can see it. There we go. And this is under the Athearn line. And we announced these not that long ago. This was January of 23 that we
Okay,
announced these.
I do kind of remember these being announced because that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And so these are really kind of the modern day boxcar, kind of the replacement.
High cube double plug, yeah. Exterior
Yeah.
posts, see them all the time. Yeah.
It's one of those things where PS1s for the longest time were, you know, the
Hmm.
majority. And now you're seeing these guys. And the video here doesn't really do it justice, but you can
No,
see the
yeah.
closing rods on here. You can see all that detail. Look at the crossover platforms. The crossover
I was
platforms are
gonna say,
metal.
yeah, because you know this is a legendary liveries, right? But
Correct.
it's just a regular. This is not Genesis.
This is not Genesis.
Oh
No, this is
wow, because it's
Athearn.
got like the trombone,
Mm-hmm.
coupler cut bar there, and the etched metal walk through, see through platform. I was thinking, wow, that's I would have pegged it for Genesis release.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And I mean, the thing that I'm really enjoyed about is you don't have all the brake detail that you would with a Genesis model, but you do have some really good
Hmm.
detail as well. And you've got those amazing doors. I mean, the closure rods are separate. In the past,
Doesn't
they would
that
have
look
been molded.
nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are going to be available at your local hobby shop. If you pre-ordered them, look for a phone call or an email from your dealer. And if you're like, wow, Jim and Tony, I really like these cars. I didn't pre-order. I should have. Contact Spring Creek.
Call them at Spring Creek,
So yeah, definitely.
springcreekmodeltrains.com. Yeah.
And you took pictures of these today. So when are we going to see? You're probably going to put them on your website,
I'm
right?
I'm gonna put some of these things. If you don't see like you're getting a good picture here on Model Train Resource, where I do like unboxing videos and such. I've got a Facebook page for it too, and I'm putting up pictures of some of these. And again, I'm shooting them as well for. I'll put them into Model Road News, and that'll be. I forget what issue I'm working on at the moment. I think maybe
It's been a busy
August or
year.
September. It's been
Yeah,
such a busy. I forget where I'm at now, but
so
yes,
busy.
but yeah,
I don't know where
but
the
boy,
year's
they
going.
they, they look good. They really do.
These are great for you guys that are doing more modern, 90s up to the 2000s era. And yeah, these are great. Like I said, probably about 2 weeks are going to be here. They might even be here sooner. We don't have as much control over the shipping from overseas as many may think, but yeah, sometimes they surprise us and come early. Now let's go to some older models. I'm going to move him off
Sure,
camera.
I'll just take
Yeah,
that. I'll
you
keep
just take
that.
that.
Let me
Yeah,
keep that.
might see that in the magazine real soon. The next one is these Overland coaches.
I haven't seen these in a long time. This, I think, is Roundhouse Heritage Tooling.
It is
Yeah.
Roundhouse Heritage Tooling. We've upgraded them to Athearn. One of the biggest upgrades that were done to these is no more are they the Talgo trucks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Body mounted
Yeah.
couplers on these now. And the truck detail looks so much better now. Check out the turnbuckles.
Very nice.
They're much, much thinner than the old roundhouse variation. And
I
the other,
was thinking the windows look better or something. That there's, I don't remember those having the detail
a
or
little
being
bit more.
as flush fitting as they are there.
And check out the celestial windows.
Oh, neat. Yeah, they got the green through they've got a green tint through the window on the top.
Absolutely. And I mean, these we announced a while ago. It's been a couple of years now. And a lot of guys have been asking for these. Now, the ones that we've got here in the studio, this is the Great Northern version. Um, if you pre-ordered these, we're probably talking almost 2 years ago, not quite. You should be getting an email or a phone call from your dealer.
And I forget on these, this is a coach. Are there all coaches that we have here today?
So all the singles are coaches, and then there's also a 4-car set.
That's why. Oh, that's what I'm thinking. What's in the 4-car set?
So you're going to have a baggage car, of course, another coach, I believe a observation car, and I think maybe a dining car.
Okay.
So yeah.
And these nice road names. There's a gray Union Pacific we've got over here. I'm shooting pictures of. Naturally Rio Grande and Aspen Gold is awesome. Yeah. But yeah, a nice set. And something you don't see enough of. This is a prototype or an era that, again, for modelers that are looking for this kind of stuff, it's not like a streamlined passenger car. No. Well, there's about a half dozen people that make a whole bunch of them. It's like, no, not really on stuff like that.
Not like that. Yeah. Definitely. So these, if you're into this era, this is a cool era. This is back steam era, obviously. Now, just because you do modern day doesn't mean you can't model a railroad museum. And we've got some 280s coming out here hopefully soon. I'm going to pull these around. So check into those. And I'll put him over here. We're going to transition.
Now, all this stuff you're putting over here, this is my pile.
That's your pile.
I'm going to take it back with me.
It's not going back to Champaign.
No, because if you put it over here, it's going with me.
Yeah.
So
likewise,
anything you want to put over here.
Anything that comes over here is going to.
You can probably keep the mouse and maybe your bottle of tea. I got you. I need all that other stuff over here, though.
So he's excited about something, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to start with some cabooses. We're going to go to Genesis. We're going to talk about cabooses now, and these are ones. Can you believe it? It was way back in December of 21.
When you brought these in today, I was thinking, I didn't know you guys had bay window cabooses coming out. Boy, this is a sharp model.
Isn't that cool?
Very nice.
So let's start. I think I've got all of them here, or most of them here in the studio. We're going to start with that Southern Pacific one right there.
What do you think of as
on the
prototype? Are we on screen there?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
So this one here, this is a mid, looks like a 1980s era caboose, Southern Pacific. We've offered this in 3 different roads. Of course, this is a C58 bay window caboose, and it's Genesis, which means you can get it equipped with a decoder.
The Soundtracks electronics, right?
I believe so. These are going to come with light control. So if you want to just light, or for an additional charge, you can also get them equipped with both DCC sound and light.
Oh, so it would have like the reverse little. But I forget what all it does. I remember when these came out when they first did that.
Right.
But yeah, it controls the light, and it has some different sounds that it will do as well.
Wow. Yeah, you can even there's even a sound in there for a flat spot. You can hear the
dun dun dun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's that in there. You can put the squealing. In some cases, depending on the prototype, they may have a horn for backup maneuvers. So if you guys with switching layouts want to add another dimension to your switching and add one of these as a shoving platform, you can definitely do that. Sound the horn at grade crossings and such. But the Southern Pacific, this particular paint scheme, we're doing 3 different road numbers. And again, mid, 1980s. Another cool one for the Southern Pacific is this guy. Check this guy out.
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
I'm going to move him towards your pile.
I'll put this over here in my pile.
Yeah. So Southern Pacific, Railroad Police, people are thinking, really, this was a thing? And it was. So in the
Did they hide behind billboards and chase out after
I don't think
trains going too fast? It's not like that?
I think that's a different genre.
That's a different thing. Okay.
But
I caught look at the air, I assume those are like air conditioner units. And then the thing that caught me, I assume these are little lights
spotlights
on the corner. Wow. I mean, all the cool details.
Going back into the 1990s, I mean, Southern Pacific, along with other railroads, we were starting to see more tagging, more graffiti. And back in the 90s, the SP is like, no, we don't need extra paint on our property. So they had a series of these cabooses. They were used in the 1980s and into the 90s. And they were basically also targeting people that were breaking into freight cars and stealing
like
products.
Containers and things, yeah.
So these were special agents that would ride on these cabooses And the RV caboose or RV
Yeah.
air conditioner you're talking about, we wanted the law enforcement to be comfortable because us, California gets hot.
And I noticed see-through on the platforms on the ends and the steps, which I know I have one of these cabooses, but I don't remember that before. But that's
See-through
nice,
end steps,
yeah.
And
And
you've got,
the cool badge on the
yeah,
side of
it's really
the
cool.
bay.
If we turn this
I was
around,
gonna
you
say,
can
did
see
we
the
see the generator?
generator. Yeah,
Down here with the blue. That's very
definitely
cool.
cool. And I mean, of course, since it's Genesis, you're going to have the brake detail. You're going to have the cut levers,
Hmm.
the air hose, all of that. That comes standard. And again, these are going to be offered with just lights or sound and lights. And we're doing 2 road numbers for the SP police units. And again, something kind of, you don't see that every day.
That's very nice. And I've seen these done before where
Mhm.
they've been custom painted, but didn't have all the details because it was just a stock
Right.
model. But yeah, so it's like, it's neat to see it with like, oh, okay, that's everything that should be on it. Wow, cool.
Now I'm being reminded of an old Paul Simon song from 1973.
Kodachrome?
There you go, Kodachrome. And I think you've got one there in front
I've
of you.
got some
Let's
Kodachrome.
switch that out.
There
We've
we
got some
go.
Kodachrome. And this is a cool story. This is Southern Pacific Caboose during the mid 1990s, SP in Santa Fe, or sorry, mid 80s. They tried to merge. And you know what? I remember this. I remember reading the Railfan and Trains magazines
Oh,
anticipating
it
the
was the
merger.
hot topic. Yeah, what's going to happen?
And I mean, the planning on this was so great because, in my opinion, I thought they did a great job on the merger paint scheme.
Yeah.
It made sense. They're using,
Hmm.
their corporate colors,
Right.
their corporate look, but it was still unique. And the smart thing that they did is, if it was SP equipment, they would put SP. If it was Santa Fe, they put Santa Fe. And then what was
So
going to
they
happen
were
after the merger?
ready to just go ahead and let them
Exactly.
up. Yeah.
And this is one of those items that got repainted in the mid 1980s. This is one of them that got repainted. This is the only one of this style caboose, the C-50-9
They
that got
got
painted in the
SP.
Kodachrome.
Wow. Huh.
And you've got your SP antenna here. That's a call out. And yeah, it's kind of a shame because even on the caboose, it's a little bit more sedate than the locomotives. You don't have
Yeah,
that
it's not
war
as
bonnet look.
wild. Yeah, there's no black to it where the locomotives had some black
No,
here and there. Yeah.
but if you look carefully, the ends and even the bay window ends are
Yeah, have
yellow.
got yellow.
And really nice detail here on the step wells. You've got the red and the yellow. Just pops out. So if you're maybe there's an alternate universe out there that people model.
I was just thinking that, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do that. And there's
cool.
enough of that equipment out there and things like this you could letter. But yeah, I don't know that I've seen anyone pursuing
Right.
SPSF as if it happened.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be available if you've been waiting for this. Yeah, your wait's almost over. Now let's talk about a short line next. Hopefully I pronounce this right. Is it the Willamette and Pacific?
Willamette and Pacific, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if you say Willamette or Willamette. I don't know.
I'm sure somebody will let us know.
Someone let us know. I think it's Willamette. But
Willamette, I'm going to go with that because you're an editor.
I don't. Well, that doesn't mean anything. I get proofread, and I don't have a proofreader here with me. So yeah,
so these guys were formed in 1993.
Huh.
And they took over several Southern Pacific branch lines in Oregon.
I see that there's a map on the side.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, they have these cabooses. Or they had these cabooses, and we're offering one road number here. It's a former, SP caboose. But what I thought was really cool is they use the old.
Did you see the B specific ship and travel Union Pacific? Yeah, they changed it out.
But it's a
cool.
really cool caboose. It's sharp. I like the map on the side, like you pointed out.
Yeah, very well done. Yeah.
The colors are really nice, and that white on all of the grab irons
makes it pop.
Really
with that deep red. Yeah, it looks nice.
And a lot of folks, I think somebody watching this was looking for this caboose. Yeah. So here you go. Maybe in 2 weeks you can have this on your layout in or module.
And that's a rare duck. That's a neat thing that was done.
Definitely cool. It's definitely cool. And then we've got another version here. We've got the Western Pacific. The Western Pacific. Now this is a sharp. It's a simple paint scheme, but it's sharp. We're doing 2 road numbers with these, and WP's last order of new cabooses before they would fall under the
UP 82, 83, yeah.
But they ordered these from International Car Company in 1980, so we're talking right up to
right at the end, yeah,
right at the very end. But of the 6 cars that were in the order, only one of them, 482 or 485 that you see here, had the WP letters printed on each end of the car.
Oh.
All 6 came with roof-mounted firecracker style antennas, which you can kind of see there. And again, one that hasn't gotten a lot of attention in the past in the modeling community, but one that we definitely want to offer. It's perfect for the Western Pacific modeler that doesn't want to acknowledge the years after Armor Yellow.
Yeah.
And speaking of Armor Yellow, the elephant in the room, we have an SP model, but this one looks a little different. This is the only one we're offering. This is 4747.
Yeah, what's its? I assume it's got a story too. Oh, Cabooses, it's odd because they'll hang around for where they need them if it's some local run that has to have. So again, we think Caboose is now gone since the 80s, but no, there's these are around all the time. There's some of the old Mopac Bay windows I see down in Oklahoma all the time.
Sure.
That are still in yards. So yeah.
And you got a good point. Why are we seeing this? This is actually an era 2019 era. This is based on what it looked like in 2019. And yeah, you're right. Even though cabooses are kind of gone by the wayside, they still are being used by Class 1 railroads as shoving platforms.
Right.
And this is great for you guys out there that are modeling current day UP, and you're doing a shelf style layout.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't even have the room to have a runaround track. You can run this as push-pull service and do what they do on the real railroad, rather than try to find waste up real estate with a runaround track. They just push these guys, and they're usually operated so that they have a horn to warn folks, motorists, that they're going through a grade crossing. And if you have this on your industrial or shelf style layout, it kind of adds another dimension of operations to it, with the sound and the lights and everything else.
Boy, the painting, the lettering work. Look on the steps, the white within the thin red.
Yeah.
So you've got kind of the white to grab your attention coming up the steps, but then it's got a red border, and I see the center one has like a warning thing on it.
Right.
And I don't know, the decoration work is top notch on it.
It's really beautiful. Now, like I said, we announced these back in, what did I say, 2021. So it's been a little bit. You may have forgotten about these. And that's understandable. That's been a little bit. If you did pre-order them, you'll probably get notified by your dealer. But if not, maybe you forgot about them, and maybe you want to order these. Go ahead and call Spring Creek. They're going to have some coming in here soon.
And everything we're talking about today, you're expecting to see
by July.
By July sometime. So
and maybe sooner, depending on how. So. Cabooses, I guess I'm old school. I like cabooses. And if I were to run a modern layout, I would have to figure out how I'm going to justify that.
And that's the reason. Yeah, that one, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking at our comments and stuff. Yeah, we're getting some requests. I see this. I'm going to put Terry's up there because Terry, the Southern Bay window, please.
Oh, that would be interesting. Would be cool. That would take you some new tooling work, I think.
It would take some new tooling, but I don't know. We're getting a lot of requests for Southern.
Well, and I think too, you've done a handful like Union Pacific and the Southern Pacific. You've done some of these, cabooses are kind of almost that last frontier in the hobby.
Yep.
We've gone road accurate on locomotives. Passenger cars have kind of hit that. But cabooses is still pretty much there's a lot of accurate cabooses, but there's a whole lot that aren't done. So that is kind of a new frontier of sorts for modern tooling.
Right. Well, the good news is, no, you have not missed out. If you pre-ordered one, you're all set already. But if you didn't, I would highly suggest contacting your dealer and putting them in. I don't think these are going to last long.
No,
these are really pretty
nice.
locomotives, cabooses. So. Yeah, Southern Railway is starting to get a lot of love, and I'm hoping that maybe we can start sneaking in some more Southern models in the things to do list type of thing. Let's take a look and see if there's any.
There's the email always too to send when again people ask for that stuff. I get emails, why doesn't Athearn do this or that? And it's like, well, send this to them at
Athearn-product suggestions at athearn.com.
Yeah.
And remember, guys, I've had a few guys come at me at train shows and they're like, well, I sent that email, but nobody got back to me. And I said, well, we didn't really set it up for a two-way conversation. It's really what we're doing is we're taking this information. Tony sees something and he's like, wow, I'd really like this and this railroad. That gets sent into that email. And then what happens is they're all collected.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes decision time, when Athearn sits down and says, what are we going to do for next year? Well, we're getting a lot of requests for, Southern locomotives. Okay, let's see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, too, we'll do a survey. Let's say we're going to do another run of a certain locomotive. And we've been able to calculate through that email how many people want Rock Island and how many people want, Maine Central or whatever. We'll put those top road names on there, and then we'll throw it back out to you guys and send it as a survey. And that's what determines what we're going to do, because one of the dangers of being a model railroader and working for Athearn is you want to do all your roads. We can't live like that.
That's not how that works.
Doesn't work that way, folks.
Well, that's true. There'd be a lot of Boston and Maine probably if you were picking all the stuff. Yeah,
that might be good for a month or two, but after that,
and I do know the emails get read and looked at, because I will get emails from your design guys saying someone's asking about this or that. Wasn't there an article in Diesel Era or this or that some years ago? Do you have a copy of that, or can you give me some more information, or do you have pictures? So, and sometimes there's things I see that get announced, and other times like, oh, I remember somebody asking about that, but yeah, I guess they're still working on it. Yeah. So there's always a lot of things, I think, in process at one stage or another.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, if you don't see something today or in the future that, I wish they would have done my railroad, I wish they had done this model, you can always send us an email. Now, I always have a disclaimer. Just because you email us, please don't think that we're going to do that specific thing. It is basic, since we are a business, so it depends on how much of a demand that product is. If we get more of a demand to do Southern Railway versus, I don't know, UP, we're probably going to lean towards SP. But if you say, I really wish they would do the Podunk Central and Southern.
Well, and a lot of people that know those things also know where some of those books, some of those articles, or they have some of that information. So if you do, and you're wanting, I'd like to see this or that made, say, I've got slides of these, or I know somebody that has all of that, because that's the next thing. It may be a great idea, but if nobody's got a picture of that, it's like, well, or, we're not sure, or we're trying to figure out that. So if you're an expert on it and it's something you want to see as a model, make sure you include that in that email to say, hey guys, and look for this old issue of Prototype Modeler or Mainline Modeler or something. Had a whole article on them that had drawings and everything. So that's a good starting point to help.
Really is. Well, we're gonna move into the 90s, and I'm gonna give you a hint, Tony. I'm gonna give you a hint as to what it is. It's kind of a wild hint. So Bobby Darin had a hit back in, I think, 57.
Okay.
Mac the Knife.
Yeah.
So what does that got to do with the next thing that we're going to show?
You said 1990s and Mac the Knife.
Yeah.
Mac. I'm going to say the Mac part probably means something.
Mac probably means something. What was going on at EMD in the 1990s?
Well, there were those convertible Macs, the 4390 Mac, and those, and boy, those went all over the place after a while too. Yeah.
So, yes, the next run of the SD90MACs are back. And wow, I remember seeing this in a magazine back in my college days and thinking, check that out. That could suck up small animals. Such a big locomotive. This was the power struggle. This was back when both GE and EMD were just going back and forth.
This was that last huge horsepower race.
Kind of like the muscle car era.
It was. We had that in the 60s, and then this was kind of the AC 6000 maybe that GE did, and then this was EMDs that everybody was kind of chasing their tail on, more horsepower, and this was EMDs.
This was Tim Allen's version of a train, more power.
Yes, more power.
It was definitely more power. Unfortunately, though. Yeah. Unfortunately, in the real world, the prime mover that they were developing for this specific locomotive that never really came to fruition. It never really passed any tests. And so we were left with the SD90-43.
Yeah.
Not the engine that was originally designed for it. And UP, they signed on. They took a bunch of these in, and so we've got the UP version. As time went on, though, they kind of soldiered on, and then they just kind of, I don't know, mid 2000s, they just kind of sidelined them.
Yeah, it was they hit their leases or whatever, and like, maybe we're never going to remotor these like we were going to do, and yeah, everybody just kind of they wandered away. I assume this is the as delivered.
Yes.
With that, we will deliver
definitely from that era,
early 90s. Yeah.
Yep. So you're looking at these things ended up on the deadline. If you're modeling, let's say, mid to late 90s, early 2000s UP, this is perfect for you. You're going to see them. But where a lot of them ended up going to Norfolk Southern, and they went to Canadian Pacific. And in fact, I've got some patched Prime for Grime versions right here. Here's the first one. And you can see it's all the armor yellow has been weathered.
It faded down, yeah. The kind of sun bleached armor yellow.
Yep. And it's even still got its original road numbers, but it's got the CP. Nicely done, actually, as far as a patch job. The armor yellow.
Very neat for what railroads tended to do, that kind of stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
And if you'll notice on this one, you've not only got two different colors of cab shades, but they're different styles.
Different styles, wow.
So these things kind of soldiered on to their new homes, both north of the border as well as on the east side of the country. In fact, I've got another version here I want to show you, which is really kind of cool. Remember when UP was doing the flag paint scheme? I thought it was kind of neat that, CP, they patched it. You can't really see in the video here, but they patched it. CP, but they didn't touch the flag.
I would think they would patch and put a maple leaf on that.
That's what I was thinking. They had their opportunity.
Somebody missed a shot there. Wow.
I mean, that would have been kind of cool, actually, to see that kind of a difference.
And I noticed our antenna arrays change as they do.
Yep.
As you get between, look at how this one's got, whether it's railroad specific, like that's got a GPS dome,
right,
and some of the other things. So yeah, wow. And boy, the warning labels and everything, the decoration's amazing on these. And seeing these together, where you've got the fresh armor yellow, this is a little bit faded, and then that other one we showed you was like very much sun bleached. But wow, those are very sharp looking. And these, of course, are Genesis.
These are Genesis. We announced these a little over 2 years ago.
Wow.
Now, of course, we know where these ended up. They became the basis for the SD70 ACUs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Norfolk Southern kind of started that out, and Canadian Pacific said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And they said, "Hey, you know what? That's a great idea." So they did a bunch of work on these locomotives. It's kind of what I call a resto mod. It kind of still looked like a 90. There were some subtle changes, mainly to the cab. Cab was all new, but all the electronics were changed out. And on the Canadian side, they did some really cool paint scheme with the SD70 ACUs, and we'll have to stay tuned. I think there's some of those coming, not on this program, but probably later this summer. So SD90s.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think we still got one more locomotive.
We've got one more locomotive. It's a very cool locomotive. We're going to jump way back from the 90s to later steam era.
We're going to go to the end of the steam era. And I'm really excited about these. Now, as you know, I'm not an SP modeler. I'm not even a steam modeler, but check these out. Now, this was the first, we've done these before.
I think so, and I can't remember because I remember when these came out. I do not have one of these in my collection. It's one of the few Athearn locomotives that I never picked up. That they kind of came and went on me, and I remember these coming back and thinking, oh, this would be a good opportunity. This is the one with the skyline casing on the top.
Yep.
But boy, they really are amazing looking.
And the cool thing is, these are the first time that we had them offered with Tsunami 2.
Oh, okay.
There's been some added features and upgrades from the previous run. So that's a little bit reason why they took a little bit longer than some of the other models. But the one that we've got here, that is one of the coolest paint schemes
sweet,
ever. The daylight paint scheme is probably one of my favorite paint schemes. And we're going to be offering this. Of course, it's got an oil boiler. This has got the, like you said, the Skyline casing. We're offering this particular paint scheme in 2 different road numbers. And these are appropriate for, I think they were using these. I've got to look this up real quick. This is starting in 1939, but it went all the way through to pretty much the last days of steam with ESP. But it's such a cool model.
Or they're nice. You have that Vanderbilt type tender, the oil tender.
Yeah, it's you've got that going for you. You've got the Tsunami 2 sound, so they're going to sound amazing. Again, the Tsunami 2, the guys at Soundtracks, they go out to the actual locomotives. They record all of that sound, so it's real sound that they're delivering. The decoders on these, they're going to be in the tender, and they've got a wiring harness in between the locomotive and the tender itself. The other thing that's been upgraded with these, not only do they have sound, but they have dual cube speakers.
Oh, nice.
So there are certain sounds, and I think the steam locomotive is a great example. All the sound doesn't just come from one area. There's multiple things going on, and the dual cube speakers really helps, tell that sound story. So definitely, that is something that was not available before. We're doing different versions of this locomotive too. Let's show another variation of the Skyline casing, but a simpler paint scheme. You notice that one came over here with my name.
I was going to say, wow, you just nabbed the steam locomotive on me. All right, well.
So here we go. This is the all black paint scheme, but still sharp. I mean, it's just a beautiful locomotive.
Really, it's so fun to see Athearn, because there's a lot of the big, like UP steam. Not that this is a small steam locomotive,
right?
Being a 42 Mountain, but it's always fun to get to see Athearn steam because there's just not that much, really.
Right.
So this I think was the first thing is you had this whole box of stuff. I unboxed one of these, and this was one of the first things you unboxed too. Is
I did.
Like, I want to see these. So yeah, if we were kids under the Christmas tree today, we both grabbed these first and started unboxing them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's such a feast for the eyes. I mean, look at all the detail.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a beautiful locomotive. Now, I want to add too the couplers that come with these. These are just scale dummy couplers. However, if you want, you can put an operating coupler in there. It's not a big deal. That way you can use it like you normally would. There's going to be firebox and rivet detail that previously we didn't have in there. Minimum radius on these, like you were saying, it's not exactly a small locomotive. It's pretty good size.
Yeah.
So if your layout has a 22-inch radius, you're okay. I wouldn't go below 22 because it's going to have a hard time, staying
negotiating
on
that.
there. Yeah, definitely. But metal handrails, cab interior details.
Yeah,
the wheels are blackened.
This one, I think that one I have, or that's the one I unboxed. We're going to look at next. I'll turn it around and show the cab. I was really impressed with the back head detail and
it's a
looking
lot
in the
to take
cab.
Yeah, and did I mention the wheels are already chemically blackened?
I was going to say, boy, the side rods and the wheels look really, really nice. Yeah.
The newest features to this model really are the dual cube speakers, because that's going to sound so much better. The last time we offered these had the old incandescent light bulbs.
Oh, okay.
They've been upgraded to LED now. Improved loco to tender connection, which we'll show in the next model, and improved electrical pickup. Somebody was asking about electrical pickup. Yeah, there is traction tires in here, but there's also an improved electrical pickup. So that is going to help out in your slow speed operation, especially through turnouts and things of that nature. And then the last one that we're going to show, maybe I'll send that one your way.
Oh, there we go. I at least get to nab one of them.
That way I get the next one coming up. So here,
this is the one that I grabbed to unbox. That green jacket just really got my attention, and it's the one of the three without the skyline, the streamlining done to it.
Right.
But boy, it is really eye catching.
It's really eye catching. It's got that green boiler like you were mentioning. The SP began building the MT4 classes, the 482s, Mountains, in their Sacramento shops. That was back in 26.
Wow.
As delivered, they came with green boilers, which lasted until the mid 1930s.
Wow.
And they were painted in the standard black scheme. But man, that is just a striking
It
paint
just
scheme.
it pops so much because of all the other detail on the boiler and that green and then the graphite end here and the silver face. And I don't think we mentioned yet, all of these have, I caught a decal sheet is in there for
Yes.
number boards are a little further back on the streamline ones and up front here. So you see those there. It's not that they aren't there. There's a sheet included with them to
Right.
do the number boards.
Now, somebody was asking about price. Keep in mind the price that I'm going to give you is full MSRP. That's retail. So contact your dealer. Your dealer's going to have a better price. But retail, if you go with without sound, standard DC, but DCC ready, you're looking at $509.99. If you go with the Tsunami 2, I got to be honest with you, I don't know if I could have a steam locomotive without
And not
sound.
have sound.
Yeah.
That is weird because I would agree. I could go diesel without sound before I could probably go steam without sound.
Exactly. You only need to add another $99 to that retail price, so $599.99 with Tsunami 2. And go ahead and
Oh, this one we did put it together. Yeah.
we can take
I've
that apart.
I've got some. I have pictures of it that I'm gonna put up here in a bit. But yeah, the detail's really nice. It's got the plate that comes down.
Check that out there. So yeah, you've got the
That's your
nice
connection.
your nice connection there. And like you were saying, I mean
Yeah, and this you don't really get a good look here from what
Right.
we're doing, but still, yeah, it is really amazing. And then there's what 2 cube speakers
and
inside there. Boy, there's a lot of good
Yeah.
weight to that too.
a lot of good weight to that because, like I
Yeah.
said, the Tsunami 2 version
Ah,
gonna have that decoder in there. And then you've got a lot of nice tractive effort weight here.
mhm.
Great electrical pickup, great weight. They just
And yeah, the second set of drivers, I see the traction tires on those. Although the white walls and the
The white
stars
walls are
on the
beautiful,
center,
aren't
and
they?
that's pretty. Really, I mean, you would think this is kind of the more plain one
right,
because it's not the streamline.
right.
But I think, yeah, out of the group, this, like I said, this one really caught my attention. I think I
so
really
too.
like it. And this is more as delivered, basically, or
delivered,
early.
yeah.
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 Wow.
They wouldn't get the upgrades that you see here until later in their service career.
Both are beautiful.
They're both
Wow.
beautiful. I guess I'm gonna have to put one on my list.
That is very neat. Yeah.
So that's what we've got. I hope this was a good episode for you. We got time to take some questions. You can ask some questions to Tony. You can ask some questions about me. We can answer them. Tony, what have you been up to? I know you're a busy man.
As I said, just finished the HO Collector's first annual, 116 color pages, and I
Wow.
cover all kinds of stuff from, I mentioned the Bicentennial as a future collectible. I go through the whole run of the Pola kits,
Oh yeah,
like Arley
covered that.
Station, Rico Station, all
Yeah.
those. I do that whole run with checklists for those. Speaking of Steam, I go through the whole Mantua second generation of like the late 70s up to about 2000.
Okay.
All of Mantua's stuff with going by their catalogs, kind of give collectors an idea of here's what the packaging was for this era, and if it's in this color box, it's a little bit newer, and
Sure.
just some information on that because I've been asked about it over the years. But lots of fun stuff, and it's $34.95. I think it gets a pre-publication price as of Tuesday on shop.whiteriverproductions.com.
Okay.
For that's the HO Collector Annual, and then of course Model Railroad News and Diesel Era. So lots of railroad stuff.
If you're not a subscriber of Model Railroad News, I highly suggest it. I can say personally, that's how I keep up on the industry. I mean, the web is great, but really print is still very, very relevant.
I have,
There's
you know,
so much
even
of it.
I have that even from I've had guys in their 20s say, I don't know what it is or why, but I want to see it in the magazine.
Yeah.
Like, wow, in your 20s, that shouldn't mean anything to you. But yeah,
Right.
it's like, that's very cool. So yeah, very neat. It's fun to do.
Well, let's see. It looks like we got some questions coming in. I'm going to see what we've got here and answer some questions. I see one from Justin wanting to know the status of the Versacoils. Remember we announced
I do
those?
remember that, yeah.
Been a couple of years. So those are totally new tooling, totally new cars. I know that is something that John's been working on, among other projects, of course. And I don't have a firm ETA for you right now. We were trying for fall of this year. I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but don't worry, they haven't fallen off the radar. We're working on them. So, like I said, hopefully maybe this fall we can have them, but we'll see. Here's Randall's been saying he's been a reader since 2003.
Wow.
So that's great. 21 years of being a loyal subscriber and reader.
This is my 13th anniversary. June
Really
is my 13th anniversary at
wow.
Model Road News, which doesn't, it's hard, it doesn't seem like it, but it has been.
Any new 53-foot containers coming? Not off the top of my head.
Really?
Yeah, nothing yet. I know John did those Canadian Tire ones.
Right.
We talked about it, and we've.
Well, you've just announced that it's not 53 foot, but the container with that chassis, the open tank, and that's a really neat model. That's in the latest group of announcements. Yeah.
So let's see what else we've got here. We'll go back a little bit. Uh-oh, so you're being called out. They did not see you at Amherst. You weren't at Amherst.
I was not at Amherst. No, I was not. I've been so busy with, in addition to those magazines for White River, I do layout for the National Railway Historical Society's bulletin. I started doing that.
Yeah.
So that as well. But yeah, and a lot of stuff, always train stuff. But yeah, I have missed a few shows lately. Yeah. I will be at the St. Louis RPM. You'll be at the St. Louis RPM. We're about a month away.
Is it really a month away?
I know. My assistant editor was messaging me this morning going, I'm counting the days to the RPM. I'm like, that's a long way away. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, it isn't. It's like less than a month now, isn't it? Yeah. So the St. Louis RPM, mid-July, 17th, 18th, 19th, something like that. Google St. Louis RPM for more. But I know Jim will be there, and I'll be running around with my assistant editor, Shane Mason, and there'll be lots of manufacturers there, and man, it's so fun to walk up and down the tables to see all the models that hobbyists bring.
If you've never been to an RPM meet, especially I think St. Louis is considered the biggest, isn't it?
Well, and I heard that for many years, but that was the only one we ever went to. So when people say, "Oh, like it's the greatest one," it's like, "Well, it's the home team." So it's like, yeah, so I didn't think about it, and then it's like, no, I think it really is. Yeah, like yeah, it is a cool one. But yeah, there's that one, and I'm really looking forward to. I'll put a plug early for Greeley, Colorado. Michelle Kempema is going to have a first in September.
That's right.
So, and I don't know if she's got a website up for that or not. We need to find that out. But the Colorado Model Railroad Museum is, I don't know if it's involved in that specifically or if that's where it's being hosted, but
it's probably involved somehow.
I would be at Greeley, north of Denver, gets an RPM for the first time later this year. And they're such fun meets. I say St. Louis is coming up in about a month, and that September, October, whenever that one is in Colorado seems a long way away, but
it's not.
It's not.
The year's going quickly. It seems like yesterday I was at the Rocky Mountain Train Show. Now, and you like I said, if you've not been to an RPM meet and you kind of lean more towards the Genesis style models, you're going to want to go to an RPM meet. This is where you see some excellent modeling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, scratch built buildings, scratch built freight cars.
Mm-hmm.
This is a show for modelers. It's not really just a public show like you normally go to. And yeah, that reminds me, because I told Shane I was going to bring some N scale this year, so I got to get busy.
Oh, you better get busy on that,
yeah. So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you're going to the St. Louis RPM meet. And it looks like I got a question in from, are you a Trayman too? He says, Jim, are the Portland and Western GP39-2s near done? I believe so. I think we might see those by the end of the summer. Don't quote me on that because there's a lot that I'm trying to keep track of out there on ETAs, but I have seen those on my tracking sheet. So I'm hoping they come here by the end of summer because I think I've got a pre-order in that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, let's see what else we've got for questions. Let's see. Yeah, that's true. Ronald with a wise saying, when you do what you love, time flies. That is true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That is true. Sometimes I sit down at work and the next thing I know, the day's over.
I know. Yeah, I'll think, well, I ought to break for lunch, and it's like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. Like, oh, well, or dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to put a timer on, otherwise.
Usually my dog comes around when I see him standing there on his hind legs. I'm like, oh, maybe I better find out what time it is, and do you need to go outside? And yeah, okay, let's go. Down.
Here's a good one, Drew. He says, I would like to see a Western Maryland 1309 2662 HO scale steam or Yellowstone. Oh, that would be cool.
Wow.
2884.
Yeah.
So great suggestions. And again, this goes back to what John said one time in a meeting. It's like, yeah, I wish I could just snap my fingers and make it possible. Most of us are modelers too. So when you guys come up with ideas like this, we're like, oh, that's a great idea. It's almost like peer pressure.
Yes. Yeah.
But so a couple of things is that would require all new tooling, all new research. And I'm not saying that we won't do it, but if we had enough requests and we were going to do one of those steam locomotives, that would be probably on average 2, sometimes 3 years worth of research before
to get
any CAD drawings are done or anything like that. Then CAD drawings are done, then molds are cut. And right now, I can tell you, product development at Athearn is at notch 8.
I was going to say, you guys have got, as I mentioned, there's a lot of projects and other things that I've either scanned stuff or pulled information on, and then I forget. And then it gets in, it's like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten they were working on that. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. Athearn has a weekly meeting, and we go through and say, okay, we're good for this, we're good for that, so we can do the next process in marketing and sales. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot we announced that. And we're going to do this now. And that's why I'm excited about tonight, because that's going to be a great,
Yeah. 7 o'clock tonight, 7 Central.
Yeah.
We're going to be back again with the big finale tonight. I will share with you the cover of the third quarter diesel era that then gives away what they're announcing.
Yeah.
So.
And 2 models, not just
2 models. Yes.
Models.
Yeah.
They've been, from what we can tell from our email product suggestion, as well as comments that I see on social media, I think a lot of you guys are going to be happy with what we're coming out with.
How's my roundhouse F unit? My new F unit. I know I've asked you this and I forgot the answer.
Yeah, we had a delay on that.
We had the surprise of John bringing that to Amherst last year.
Yeah, not this past year, but the previous year.
So the new tooled, kind of revised tooling F7A for the roundhouse line. This year, do we think we'll see it?
I think so. We're probably looking at maybe sometime this summer. We had a few little things that we had to work out, because remember, we upgraded the tooling.
Right.
I'm really excited about those. And for you guys that have been, asking us for years, do undecorated, do blue box, do, something of that era. The cool thing about these F units is we offered them, in fact, the first run that's coming, they're coming in undecorated with both the single and the dual headlight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But unlike the old F units, all of the rivet, lift ring detail, grab iron detail, that's not there.
None of it's molded on.
But there are divots for number 80, so you can detail this locomotive to your heart's delight.
Wow.
The cool thing is, you remember how when F units first came out, they had that skirting. It looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But by the 1960s and 70s, most railroads were cutting that skirting off because it got in the way of maintenance, refueling, things of that nature. And a lot of guys that wanted to take the original, going back to the Athearn Blue Box days, if you cut those off, what would happen?
The shell won't stay on, because that's how it snaps the shell on.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I remember John saying that, he designed that so you can do that.
And, they're going to be DCC ready.
Yeah.
So for you guys that have been wanting undeck, and you want to do your own thing, you want to do detailing, and I get it, it's relaxing. I still like to detail locomotives. These guys are going to be coming, F7As in both single and dual headlight, and you can do your heart's content. I don't know, maybe we should do a contest.
Oh, when they come out, yeah. What did you do with your undecorated F unit? Yeah.
Convince me that your short line's real. I don't know.
Yeah, really, yeah.
That would be
people wanted them. What did they do with them? Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Sid wants to know, Sid all the way from Ohio wants to know, any hints on tonight's announcement? Trying to think, what's a good hint? I mean, it's one of those things where if I give the wrong hint, they're going to get it right away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Are you into Chinese astrology at all?
No.
So it's not the year of the cat?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know if
only time I see that is when I'm at a Chinese restaurant every once in a while. They have those paper placemats. No, but that would be the other way.
So I don't know. It might be the year of the cat. I don't know, depending on who you are. I mean, that's kind of a hint.
That would be it. Yeah, that is a little bit of a hint. Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I don't know
I
what else.
don't know. Yeah.
I can say that one of the releases are somewhat regional to a certain area of the
Oh,
country,
okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a very well-loved railroad.
Oh, yeah.
Very passionate group of modelers that love this railroad.
Absolutely.
And then the second one, pretty well-rounded. We've got a little bit of the Texas area.
Yeah, and the road names, and yeah, in that group of yeah.
Yeah, got some East Coast roads, and we got some Midwest and some yeah. So yeah, no Canadian stuff. I'll give you that. There's a hint.
Okay,
no
yeah,
Canadian.
there's no Canadian in.
Yeah. So there you go. So let's see. I don't have any. Austin, I see your question there. I think you've asked twice. I don't have anything for an answer for you just yet. We are in probably, I don't want to say beginning stages, but maybe in the early stages of getting through that backlog. Because remember, these guys were announced almost 3 years ago.
Right.
So now that we're starting to get these guys out of the way, that log jam starting to come through. Some of the difficulties we had with
the electronics or that was a slowdown for a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot of people. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, the new F7 tooling. I'm pretty excited about that too. That's going to give a lot of folks the option to do what they want to do.
Well, and even the decorated ones are just a great value starter. Everybody always wants that good deal, locomotive, and price wise and the features and everything, it certainly will fit that.
Absolutely. Tim says, I've absolutely added Spring Creek to my preference as far as places to buy from. They seem great. I just wish you guys were closer. Pittsburgh really doesn't have any sort of big or train focused shops. That's tends to be a trend right now. But
Spring Creek's just the internet or phone call away.
24/7.
I'm between Texas and my other homes are in the Kansas City area, and there's a lot of times I have them just ship the stuff to me. That I don't come up here more than a handful of times a year usually. So and they're it's just you call them and they put it in the mail, and a day or so later it's on my front porch. So yeah.
But Tim, next summer, around the 4th of July.
Oh yeah.
You've got the Spring Creek Train Show. Now that in itself is an adventure.
Always fun every other summer. Yeah.
Every other summer. But this coming year, it's going to be special. It's the 25th anniversary.
2025. 25th.
Yeah. So 25.
And there is a Fremo event. Mike and Jeff and the folks at Spring Creek there's a Fremo event coming up. It's just before the St. Louis RPM, and I'm blanking on the date now. But when we do our live shows, we'll mention it out, and I'll make sure they get a post up on it. But that's coming up here at Spring Creek as well. Plus, there are shows all the time. Like Mike's off at the N-Scale Enthusiasts show in Pennsylvania right now. Right. So yeah, shows all the time. And Spring Creek will be at the St. Louis RPM too. So, but boy, to be here as always, I keep sneaking away. We're here in the shipping room at the store in Dashler, Nebraska, and I keep sneaking away, going up and down the aisles and pawing through models. It's just an incredible store, and the folks are so great.
And I mean, if you're gonna come when there's either the Fremo event or their train show next summer. Athearn's gonna be a big sponsor.
That will be a fun, yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Neat thing. Although a lot of times I like to come here just on a quiet afternoon when I know nothing's going on, and I basically have the store to myself. Bring banded up and then just wander through the store, say hello to everybody, and take home a box full of trains.
Yeah, and I mean, just even beyond the inventory they have, some of the cool things they got hanging up in the shop.
Oh,
there's a lot of Rock
Island stuff, yeah.
There's number boards, I think I counted. And
there's a couple of Rock Island Depot like signs are up. In the one glass case, the Dave likes the Utah Belt.
Right.
I think Eric Bruman's railroad in the St. Louis area. So there's a whole case of Utah Belt painted HO models, and then there's some other like vintage old HO stuff, and so yeah, it's a fun trip just to see some of the neat stuff around the store. So.
An hour is not long enough to see the store.
No, yeah, it's spend the afternoon.
There you go, Tim. Come on out, buy some airline tickets or take the train, do something. Come out here at least once, you'll love it. Anthony's hitting me right where it feels. Jim, will you guys ever do a GP10 Winchester and Western one day in Genesis? Such a popular engine and road. Boy, that's a great
Yeah, you've got
Great suggestion.
you've got the Jeep platform,
We do.
and you have been doing some different things from time to time. So yeah, the rebuilt Jeeps would be, a place to head. And yeah, I don't think the 10 there was Jeep 8s, 10s, and 11s.
Hmm.
And I'm trying, yeah, I don't both of those. I would be interested in those because I'm an old
Sure.
ICG guy. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I would be interested in those as well. So
Yeah.
that's a whole other. I mean, again, when I start thinking of Athearn tooling and the stuff that it's like you guys are so busy with things, but yeah, like the Jeep platform has so many
Oh
things that could
gosh.
still be done for it
Yeah. I
that
mean,
haven't. It's like wow, yeah,
you're looking at a locomotive that stretched for like over 70 years,
yeah,
and where I'm living in Illinois, we have something called the Bloomer line.
yeah, and they have,
And they had a
yeah,
bunch of those things. So even after they were rebuilt by IC or
mm-hmm,
Conrail
yeah,
or whoever,
yeah,
they soldiered on in different
that would be neat to
different
see.
roads. Let's see what else we've got here. Some guys are already trying to figure out what we're doing tonight. Yes, here's a good one from Ronald. He says Spring Creek ships fast too. They do,
Yeah, they do.
really fast. If not satisfied, they will make it right. That is true. I can vouch for that. Jeff is great at installation of DCC, and he
He
is.
does do that. Yes, he
Yeah.
does. I don't know how much time he's got for all that because he's got so many other things on his plate. But yes, I think that is something you can ask about. I like the personal shopping stuff where I can basically get on the phone and say, this has been out or I missed it. I don't care what road number I get or if it's DCC or non. I just wanted one of these. Do you have? And like, Glenda, they'll go, look,
Right.
we've got one. I'm like, oh, please put that in a box and send it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good suggestions out there. That's where that email comes into play. And what, like I was saying earlier, but we're getting close to the time where Athearn has our annual meeting.
Well,
And we all sit around and we look at what's come in. John has access. John, our lead developer, has access to all those emails. And we look at it, it's like, well, we were going to do this, but there's a lot of people that want this. Maybe we should redirect our energies there, and that has happened. So we do use that email. Please, by all means, keep using that email and sending us suggestions. Wow, here's a name from the past I haven't heard in a while. Harry Grossman, who is the originator of the Model Railroad Show at Galesburg Railroad Days.
Yeah.
And he wants to know if I'm going to Railroad Days. Well, of
I
course.
know you are, yeah.
Yeah, that's like my summer Christmas. I go there every
My
year.
summer Christmas.
Yeah. I think I've only missed that show twice in the 30 years I've been
I
going.
haven't been in several years, but it used to be one that literally I needed like a wheelbarrow or a wagon
Right.
to pull behind me for all of the stuff I would, yeah, it would get crazy. So I haven't been in a few years. My dad always goes up to it and tells me, I saw this and you would have wanted that. Well, did you get it for me? Well, I didn't know if you had it or not. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's a great show. I'll be there. So Harry, to answer your question, hi Harry, it's been a little bit since I've seen you last. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be with the Heritage N track because I do N scale on my time off, and I'll be running something. Maybe I'll be running the Athearn Big Boy. That sounds like something fun to run. I saw another good question here. Let's see. Calculated Snipe. That's an interesting name. Sounds like a 90s alternative rock band.
I don't know, calculated snipe. Maybe that's a way to win on eBay. But you calculated it down to the when you got to put the bid in.
Has Athearn ever thought of getting into structures? So that's a good question.
They have done structures.
There have
you
been.
have been.
Yeah. We even did, thanks to you doing an article on it, we even did Western models.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, there were.
Stagecoaches.
There were some of those, and those were like either 1/48th or whatever. And yeah, back the Ulrich coal loader became the Athearn coal loader, and then the crossing gates. And then more modern times, like I've got the Coca-Cola distributor or something. It has like there was a John Deere version of it because I had someone say, "Was this ever made?" And I had to go. It's like I have one. I have one in the box. I had to go find it and like take a quick picture with my phone, and I messaged the person like, "There it is." Yeah, I forget where I got it, but yeah, there was that, and there was like a water tower and that one grain elevator and that beautiful Santa Fe station in Kansas. Were those resin? I forget now.
I think they were.
Yeah, they were like limited run. And that's been, man, some of them are about 20 years old now. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But,
of course we did the billboards. That
oh,
was
I
about
forgot
20
about
years
those.
ago.
Yeah,
So there's a couple of things. Yeah, we've done them in the past. Unfortunately, you probably haven't seen them lately because that's really not where Athearn's niche is. Athearn's predominantly been model locomotives and rolling stock. Now, we are kind of doing a structure, and that is the Caboose
Oh, that's right.
food
The
stand.
the little food stands that, yeah.
And I mean, so that's kind of a
That's
structure.
a structure, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, are we going to do more like that? Yeah, we might do a diner.
Hmm.
Who knows? We might do a diner scene or something of that nature. But we do have the concession stand cabooses, and I'm thinking we should be seeing those before the end of the
I was gonna say
year.
that's, yeah, it's been a little while since it's been announced. I
Been a
kind of
bit.
forgot those. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But good question. Let's see. What else have we got here? Oregon Western Railroad Production says, any potential for some Watco engines in black and yellow? Would love to purchase some Watco Jeeps or SD40s. That's a good suggestion.
I think the toughest thing on those would be they'd have to be Genesis, more than likely, because they're, like I see some of the Watco stuff in the Kansas City area, and it might be as old as a Jeep 35 or a Jeep 20. There's been a lot of stuff done to them, modified over the years. So, yeah, I mean, I do see them, and I get pictures of those for Diesel Era. In fact, my assistant editor at Model Road News, Shane Mason, shot some that I think I ran in a recent Diesel Era in the rail news section of stuff working on Watco. So yeah, that's a good road name, but boy, they're all so specialized that even if it was 3 G35s, each one might be a little. Although you guys do that kind of stuff, you know, these 90s we just looked at with all the different stuff on them are certainly not one fits all. So yeah, that would be good. Again, need the pictures on it.
Here's one from Willie. Well, I have to go back to the Alco PA and PB, and boy, I had some of those back in the day when they were blue box. There's something about an Alco PA. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
You know. So to answer your question, so the original ones were blue box tooling. I can't confirm this, but I'm pretty sure the tooling on those has gone bad because those went back a ways. I mean, how far back did those go to?
Actually, 1970.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ways. And if we were to do a PA again, it would probably be all new tooling. Now, I will say, and this is a good reminder, if you've looked on our social media lately, you probably saw that we've got a survey that's open. And we're seeing a shift in modelers' eras. So far, the people that have filled out the survey, we asked what era they like to model.
Right.
And for the first time since I've been at Athearn, I've seen a shift from the old standby, which was
steam to diesel.
Bingo. Yeah. We're seeing more guys modeling the 1980s to the early 2000s.
Oh.
That was our number one.
Really?
And number two was modern. So current day.
Wow.
Actually, transition came in third. Now, the survey's still open. That could change. But at least the early guys that have gone to the survey, that's what they are looking for. And the PA, it kind of falls into that just after the transition.
To diesel, yeah. Early.
So right now, with all the projects that we got on here, I wouldn't want to say we'd never do it again, but it's not as strong of an option right now as some of the other options. But a good question, because I had a set of those.
I had Santa Fe, A and a B.
Yeah. And the D&H set with the streamlined passenger cars.
Absolutely, yeah. I had a whole set of the little shorty passenger cars,
Let's see. Candid Farm says, Tony, tell him we need SD40As.
SD40As.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Illinois Central, the long fuel tank. Yeah.
Let's see. What else have we got here? Any updates? Yeah, this is one that we need to address. Any updates on the Surfliner or Amtrak California cars? Unfortunately, no, I don't have any updates for you, other than the fact that PD is working very hard to get things finalized. Yeah, it's been, honestly, it's been about 3 years.
It's been a challenging thing. I know. I had the same question and was bugging Janik a couple months ago saying, can we please do a video and get updated? And he says, we've got a lot of things going on and just not ready at the moment to say anything. So, but yeah, I know it's still being worked on a lot because it's like, yes, there is, but no, we really can't talk about it.
Where's this survey so I can click? Well, we posted it on our Facebook page. And if you are a person that is subscribed to the Athearn email newsletter. We're planning on sending that out Friday.
Wow.
So, and if you're not a part of our email newsletter, go over to our website, athearn.com. And if it's the first time you've been there, you're going to get asked right away, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? Please do that. A lot of people get their news that way. I know I get my news on that from Spring Creek, so I know what's in stock. Let's see. Amy, I apologize. We're going to get some pictures up later so you can see these if you're a part of our social media stream, because our video that we have here on site does not do these locomotives justice. Here's another great request. The Athearn to do some old GE diesels. The best choice for Athearn for older GEs would be the U23C comeback and detail. That's a great suggestion.
Wow.
That's a great, and he's right. There's a lot of people asking for, the old U30s.
Yeah.
Even the earlier, the Dash 7 series.
Yes, yeah.
That would be nice. Yeah, because honestly, we've done a lot of EMD lately.
Athearn's all, but yeah, that group of GEs, early 70s, was the 4-axle, 6-axle in the Athearn Blue Box line for U-boats. But yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Really since then, no.
Definitely. Let's see, relatable. Coil cars. I'm sorry to keep asking them anxious. Well, if you've asked in this one, I've missed it, so don't apologize. Yeah, these are still being worked on. We're getting the finalized details on these. So I don't have an ETA for you at this time, but we are trying our best to get those things done.
Is that that new boxy? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a butter dish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think when you guys announced it, I went digging through my pictures, and there's a lot of different. I kept thinking, oh, that's it. And then I'd look, I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah. So as far as the size and difference, there's quite a few of those out there now. But yeah.
CF7s. I get this question at just about every train show. And it's kind of like we have nobody to blame but ourselves type of thing. Years ago, we had the ready to roll CF7s.
Right. That's one of the very first. Oh, yeah. That the Jeep 60 M and B and that CF7, I think, were the first of like the rail power shell acquisitions made into ready to roll. Yeah.
And we ran that mold to death.
You're not gonna tell me you can't run it anymore.
Can't run it anymore.
No.
Yeah, that mold has left the building.
Oh,
unfortunately,
I like those.
Yeah, and a lot of people did, because especially if you're doing a small layout.
Oh, it's a
how many short lines had those
CF7s?
for
sure.
So unfortunately, the molds that we had to make those, it's kaput, as I would say.
I think the last time you did them, you did some fantasy ones, like did a BNSF or something, and that's what I got out of that group. But wow, that's been a number of years.
And I'm sure he's probably checked eBay, and eBay, the prices are astronomical. So if you really want one, you're going to pay.
Wow.
And that's getting harder and harder to find. In fact, I believe it was at Galesburg a couple of years ago, I found one, and I thought to myself, oh, I should get that. And by the time I made up my mind, it was gone. I mean, so to answer your question.
I didn't know that. This is a collectible thing now.
It is a collectible thing. Wow. Now, does that mean that Athearn will never do the CF7 again? No. We've talked about this locomotive at length because it's been requested over and over and over again. It really fills the need. And we've debated, do we keep it in the Athearn, which is the modern ready to roll, or do we go to Genesis?
That would be an interesting one to go to Genesis, because the rail power shell was nice, but there are a couple of different. There's that one with the more F unit hood than like the more Topeka cab, and then as they went to different roads, they got all sorts of things done to them. So maybe almost a Genesis platform for the CF7 is something it needs for its future.
Something we'll have to look at. And a lot of things too. Those CF7s would fit really well in the Genesis line because every CF7 was different.
Yes, yeah.
No two were alike. So yeah, exactly. Well, I've got time for maybe one more question, and then we got to let everybody out there get ready for the 7 o'clock. We got to get ready for the 7 o'clock, and at some point we got to get something to eat. We haven't done anything.
Yeah, we got to get dinner too.
Let's see what we got for our last questions. A lot of people really want those CF7s and GE U28s. Yeah, that's a good suggestion too. Let's end with Dan. Dan says, any chance of Athearn bringing back the Genesis 282? Me, myself, some medium-sized steam. We're seeing a lot of people requesting medium and small steam. Are they coming back? I don't know the status of the molds on those, but I would assume that at some point we're going to come back with them. One of the problems that any model railroad manufacturer has is we produce what is popular, of course, but every time that injection molding process hits the mold, it breaks the mold down just a little bit. Remember when you were a kid, maybe, and building plastic model cars or airplanes, and you would take those parts out of the sprue, and there'd be all kinds of this flat plastic around the hood or whatever. Well, that's no different than what happens with our manufacturing process. And when it gets to the point where there's too much cleanup involved, we retire those molds. Now, sometimes, like in the case with a lot of our FMCs that we've been announcing lately, they were based on the old MDC tooling, but we upgraded the tooling so that they're prototype size and dimensions.
Right, because you did like 2 versions of that one boxcar that was, and yeah, people ask, why are they doing a new tooling? Well, they're going to do 2 versions early in late production.
Yeah, we did the 2 railbox versions. So sometimes if the tooling isn't too bad, we can usually correct it. And that's where John comes in. He's our lead developer. He's got many years of design under his belt, and he can go in there and not only does he fix the mold, but he does things like with these steam locomotives, makes them so that they can have Tsunami 2 and things of that nature. So sometimes there's upgrades, but the short answer is, I don't know what we're gonna have to do. We'll have to get back to you on that one.
Those have been gone. I mean, that was early Genesis days.
It was.
That's back when the F unit was new. Basically, there was a 462 and the 282. I think they were made in Korea even. That they're So
it's a possibility. The tooling
might be tough to
the tooling might be kaput. So there you have it. Great day here in Nebraska. Tony and I've got a lot of stuff. I know you got some photography you got to do, and we got to get ready for 7 o'clock. Big announcement. Do yourself a favor. Get some soda, some popcorn, and
we'll be back.
We've got a presentation for
7 o'clock for you. Yeah.
We got. I mean, both of us have got a lot to talk about for tonight's thing, and I really hope. I always get excited when there's a new announcement because it's like, for me, the joy is when I see people out there like, I'm so excited about you guys coming out with this because it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
To see people so happy about it. So until I see you folks at 7 o'clock, you know what? In the few hours that we got, you still have time to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling. Hi, Green. See you in a bit.